All right, let's start our journey in pretty much the most extreme place on Earth, Antarctica. It's the coldest, the windiest, the driest continent imaginable, a world of ice that seems totally hostile to life. And yet, this is where one of the planet's most incredible survivors doesn't just get by, it actually thrives. We are, of course, talking about the penguin. So here's the journey we're going to take. We'll start by exploring their frozen home, this ice kingdom. Then we'll get into their biology, the superpowers that let them conquer the cold and become absolute masters of the ocean. After that, we'll see why they might just be the toughest parents on the planet. And finally, we'll look at the new threat they're facing, a threat that could unravel everything. And really, this is the big question, isn't it? You see a penguin waddling around on the ice, looking a little awkward, and you just have to wonder, how on earth does this little bird make it in the harshest place on the planet? Well, that waddle is incredibly deceiving. This animal is an evolutionary masterpiece, built perfectly for this exact world. What's so amazing is that we're looking at a bird that basically traded the sky for the sea. And make no mistake, they are 100% birds. They've got feathers, they lay eggs, the whole deal. But millions of years ago, evolution took their wings and sculpted them into these powerful, rigid flippers. They gave up flight to become the world's most efficient swimmers. In fact, they spend up to 3/4 of their entire lives in the water. Okay, so how do you survive in a place where the temperature can drop to levels that are just hard to even imagine? Well, you come prepared. Penguins are equipped with a whole suite of biological superpowers. Think of it as the ultimate built-in survival gear. Let's break it down. Let's start with their first line of defense against the cold. Look at this number, 100. That's how many feathers are packed into a single square inch of a penguin's body. I mean, just think about that for a second. It's an unbelievably dense coat of armor. The feathers overlap so perfectly that they create this incredible waterproof, windproof shield that keeps the bone-chilling air and icy water from ever even touching their skin. And you know, those feathers are just the beginning. Underneath that amazing coat, they have a thick layer of blubber for insulation, kind of like a seal. They even have a special oil gland near their tail that they use to meticulously coat and waterproof every single feather. But maybe their most genius trick is teamwork. They huddle together by the thousands, constantly shuffling so that everyone gets a turn in the warm, protected center. And get this, in the middle of that huddle, temperatures can soar to over 37 degrees Celsius. It can be downright toasty in there, even when it's deadly cold outside. Now, this is where it gets really clever. In the water, they have what's basically an invisibility cloak. See, predators are hunting them from both the sky and the deep. So from above, a bird looking down sees the penguin's black back, which just disappears against the dark, deep ocean. But from below, a leopard seal or a shark looks up and sees a white belly, which blends in perfectly with the bright, sunlit surface of the water. It is an absolutely brilliant form of camouflage. So we've established they are built for the cold. But to really get a penguin, you have to see them in their true element, the water. Yeah, on land, they can seem a little clumsy. But the second they slide into the ocean, they transform. They become these sleek, powerful torpedoes of muscle and grace. And this chart just shows you how incredible that transformation is. I mean, look at the emperor penguin. They can hit speeds of 14 kilometers an hour. It's like they're flying underwater. You can see how that power changes with the smaller species, but that speed, it's not just for fun. It's what makes them such deadly, effective hunters in the frigid Southern Ocean. But it's not just about speed, it's about depth. An emperor penguin can dive down to a staggering 1,700 feet. That is unbelievably deep, and they can hold their breath for up to 30 minutes to do it. To pull this off, their bodies do something incredible. They slow their heart rate down to just a few beats per minute, conserving every last bit of oxygen. They are, without a doubt, absolute masters of the deep. And, you know, while we usually picture penguins on the Antarctic ice, there are actually 18 different species, and they're pretty diverse. This table gives you a little snapshot. You've got the giant emperor, the tallest and heaviest of them all. Then there's the king penguin, a little smaller, but with those beautiful, vibrant orange feathers. And then way on the other end of the spectrum, you have the tiny little blue penguin, which actually lived in the much warmer climates of Australia and New Zealand. As amazing as all their physical feats are, for me, the real heart of the penguin story is their unbelievable dedication as parents. Seriously, the journey they take to raise just one single chick is one of the most grueling and heroic tales in the entire animal kingdom. Just look at this timeline of the emperor penguin's parenting saga. It starts with a brutal march up to 100 kilometers inland. After the female lays just one precious egg, she's totally exhausted all her reserves. She has to go back to the ocean to feed. And that is when the father's truly epic ordeal begins. For more than 2 months, through the absolute darkest, coldest part of the brutal Antarctic winter, he just stands there, balancing that single egg on his feet to keep it off the ice, all while not eating a single thing. And this just shows you the insane physical cost of that fatherly devotion. While he's protecting that egg, waiting for the mother to return, that male penguin will lose up to 45% of his total body weight. He is literally starving himself to make sure his offspring has a chance to live. It is an act of endurance that is almost impossible to comprehend. So what happens when the mother finally gets back? I mean, she arrives at this massive colony of thousands upon thousands of identical-looking penguins, all calling out at once in a deafening chorus. So how on earth does she find her one specific partner and their brand new chick in all that chaos?
Well, the answer is sound. Every single penguin has a completely unique call, a distinct voice. It's like a vocal fingerprint. And even in that blizzard of noise from thousands of other birds, a parent and a chick can pick out each other's specific calls, allowing them to find one another and reunite. It's this vital, personal connection in a vast and overwhelming world.
For millions of years, the penguins' #1 enemy was the brutal, unforgiving environment. And they conquered it. They figured it out. But today they face a brand new set of challenges, a nemesis that is far more unpredictable. And that new nemesis? It's us. Climate change is melting the sea ice they absolutely depend on for breeding and finding food. Our fishing fleets are depleting the very krill and fish that they need to survive. And that perfect waterproof coat of feathers we talked about? An oil spill can destroy it in an instant, which is basically a death sentence in those waters. It's like a multi-front assault on the very adaptations that made them survivors in the first place.
And look, this isn't some far-off future problem. The consequences are hitting them right now. Far away from Antarctica, species like the African penguin and the unique Galapagos penguin, which is the only one that lives north of the equator, are now officially listed as endangered. Their populations are plummeting, and it just goes to show how fragile even these ultimate survivors can be.
And that really brings us to the crucial point. Their fate is now completely tied to our actions. There are amazing, dedicated groups working to protect them, setting up marine reserves, fighting pollution, but the scale of the challenge we've created for them is, as this quote says, just immense. Which leaves us with this final, really powerful question. These birds evolved over millions of years to become the ultimate survivors. They mastered one of the most hostile environments on the entire planet. But the world they're facing now is changing faster than ever before. So, after conquering a world of ice, the biggest question is, can they survive ours?